Hi everyone. It has been quite a while since I've been back to my YouTube channel, and I hope that you're all doing really well. It's a beautiful Saturday night, and I had an FNA, which is a fine needle aspiration. It's a means of collecting a biopsy from a thyroid nodule. I had this done on Thursday, early Thursday morning, checked into Essentia Hospital in Duluth at 7:45 a.m. and the procedure at 8 o'clock. And I was terrified. I had watched videos about it. I have written a book about thyroid issues called Detox and Heal Your Thyroid. And I thought that's something I'm just never going to do, right? But one of the things I think is really important, which I'm going to encourage so many people here today, is if you're over the age of 40, you definitely want to have at least, at the very least, a thyroid serum panel, like your TSH, T3, and T4 for sure, if not going even further into reverse T3 and T4, but also if it looks like you do have symptoms, even if you're subclinical, meaning that your thyroid tests look fine, it's average about 50% of people over 40 at least have one nodule, and it might be just a tiny one. But if it's a bigger one, it could start to become more suspect, so to speak. And there's a rating system for thyroid nodules, which can be cyst and fluid filled or hard and solid, hyper or hypoechoic, as read by the radiologist. But it's really important, and I think it's just not, it's under cared for in terms of the general PCP doctors and endocrinologists and things, as they just generally don't do that. But I recommend that for most people, especially if you live in a goiter belt, like around the Great Lakes area, or an area that's been more iodine deficient, or you had an iodine deficient diet and you're eating a lot of processed foods growing up, which is a high percentage of people today. So I was horrified, terrified, scared, just pretty shocked. And my endocrinologist, who's a nurse, she's not a doctor, but she's a nurse and she's just outstanding. She gave me something which scared me even more, which was a 0.5 milligram Ativan. She gave me two of those and said, take one of them at 7 o'clock, an hour before your procedure, which scared me because I'd never taken a benzodiazepine. I don't like taking pharmaceuticals, and I rarely doctored during my life. We can go over that a lot a little bit more in the future because I have so much to share with you since I've been away. I've acquired a new credential and did my testing and all my clinical internship, and I'm licensed and all. I'm really excited to share with you about that because I think it's going to bring another level to my medicine bag of 42 years. But anyway, I took the Ativan at 7 o'clock, took a taxi to get myself there because you can't drive under a narcotic. And I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to puncture my neck. I mean, I was pretty doggone dramatic about the whole thing and shaking and just, and this little brazen in the background there, baby. So anyway, they lay you down on this extremely comfortable, like 5 inch thick memory foam type of a pad. So even if you're really thin like I am right now, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't make you feel really uncomfortable. But in any event, you know you're going to go through it. And I remember thinking to myself, just lean into this and just get it done. Think about what you're going to do in terms of like giving yourself a treat, be a treat driven and give yourself a treat when you're done, which was going to the SIP and with a friend of mine and and the two friends of mine. I'm shaking because I literally have not been on my YouTube channel for quite a while. So anyway, I took the Ativan, and then about 15 minutes before I took the second 0.5 milligram for a total of a 1 milligram Ativan. And I said, you know what, just lean into it. You don't have to drive home. Your friend's giving you a ride home. And they put the cloths here. You want to wear something like the tank top I had underneath this, where it's got a big V-neck. And they swath your whole neck. They just use like a paintbrush, and the whole thing is orange to disinfect everything. I said, I just showered this morning, but anyway, that's the procedure. And then one person's on one side, and they've got a big screen in there. It looks almost like a little mini surgical room, of course, and that you can see the image of your thyroid, but I couldn't really see it from where I was laying. And then one person nodule they're going to do, which mine was on the right-hand side right here. And mine was a 1.9 centimeter. It was a TIRAD 4. A TIRAD 5 is like the highest level of suspicion. The other two were very minimal, and they were like TIRAD 1, 2, one was a 3. and they didn't want to test that one, thankfully. And there's 4 pokes that you're going to get to gather cells, biopsy cells from your thyroid nodule. And then they go out of the room for about 5-10 minutes to make sure they have enough cells, because you don't want to come back and do this all over again. It's expensive. You're not going to want to come back. Anyway, I was absolutely pleased and amazed because it didn't hurt. I had heard and read all the comments and a bunch of videos I had watched on YouTube, so that's why I wanted to do my own. Where it was that people were saying, oh, that lidocaine shot that they give you at first stings like a bee. It didn't. And I think I'm kind of like the biggest, wimp on the planet. So when it comes to surgical and doctoring and pain and like I said, I over exaggerated and told people I'm getting my neck punctured but anyway, it was really a breeze. It was over in no time. I do feel like I have a little bit of bruising from the needle going in, which because of the lidocaine. And I would strongly recommend, if your doctor is willing to give you the Ativan, I would go with the Ativan for sure, for sure, for sure. It wore off in about another hour, an hour and a half after my procedure. Like by 9 o'clock in the morning, the procedure was done. We were sitting there having coffee at this beautiful place at Essentia Hospital. And then we went out to Positively 3rd Street and had a raspberry crumble bar. So anyway, it was hideously frightening. It was far less traumatic. It was far less stressful or painful of any way. It was done pretty quickly. And I made a mountain out of a molehill again, as usual. So don't get yourself all worked up about it. I suppose if you had to have 3 nodules sampled and there were 4 pokes per nodule, that you'd be there a little bit longer. But I had 1 nodule sampled. And to my absolute thankfulness and delight, my results came in the very next day and my thyroid nodule was benign, which is the case for about 95% of FNA, fine needle aspiration testings. So why did I'm going to end it on this note. Why did I decide to get a fine needle when I was so against it? Why would I need a fine needle aspiration and not have my health under control when I was in such tip-top shape? You could see in my past videos, I was in great, great shape, and that's what I do for a living, is wellness and substance use disorder and, optimization of life for dogs and humans. Why couldn't I look in better shape than even I do right now, right? You can see I have a little bit of gray hair finally coming in here. I'll be 64 here in July. It's March I'm 63, and in a couple months I'll be 64. And generally it goes away, but maybe it won't this time. I decided to do it because I had dropped 7 pounds around the time I took the clinical exam, and I had some muscle wasting. I developed a case of what was diagnosed as atypical pneumonia, and I don't think it was. I think it was chronic reticulosis in my x-ray due to the coughing. And why was I in that shape? To answer the second part was because there were 4 years of intense chronic stress with opioid addiction with my child, my only child, who died at the end of 2019. And the house had to be remodeled for almost a period of a year. I had to move into an apartment. I started school. I had to move out of my business because of COVID. And my health was in just a dire state of inflammation. So I cut off my long dreadlocks. I went to short hair. My hair is naturally curly. And I'm just pulling myself back up, doing my daily habits on a daily basis. Obviously daily habits on a daily basis, that's redundant. But, getting up and taking what I need, doing my HTMA, I got my cryptopyrrole done. And I'm going to go into some things that other people are really not speaking about. That's how I'm walking, standing, and breathing today. So because the last part is because I have a sibling who's had a full thyroidectomy. He had thyroid cancer. I have a paternal uncle who had throat and thyroid cancer and who ended up ultimately dying from it. I thought, you know what? This is something I'm going to do. So I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a lot nervous to be back on my YouTube channel. I feel ugly, but I'm real, I'm authentic, and I have a great deal of experience. And I'm so thankful because I really want and need to connect with you, with real people who also have real journeys and real experiences and have also gone through pain and trauma, perhaps, right? And questions, and because we share and learn from each other. And I'm so tired of seeing the fake, the polished, and the plastic smiles and all that. Let's just be real. I have some wonderful things I want to share with you, and I want to learn from you as well. So thank you so much for joining me. Give me a little bit of slack and give me some patience. I'll be patient. Be patient with me because I'm nervous. I felt really ugly to get on the screen. So thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again because I want to be able to share some other things I think that may really benefit you. Thank you. Have a good night.